Principles of design.
Hi everyone, I'm SABIAGA and I'm going to discuss the principles of design. Without further ado, let's get started.
Objectives. At the end of the lesson, students are expected to classify the principles of design, illustrate the principles of design, appraise the importance of principles of design.
There are 5 principles of design, which are balance, unity, proportion, emphasis, and rhythm. So let's discuss it one by one.
Balance is the principle that the parts or features of a garment have equal visual weight, whether the elements is a sleeve, a cuff, or a line of buttons. It works with the other parts of a garment.
Balance is how the internal spaces of a shape work together. The surface of a design may be broken up by structural lines, trims, fabric patterns, textures, or colors. Balance also refers to visual weight in design, and a garment must be balanced to be visually pleasing. Balance can be asymmetrical or symmetrical, which are also called informal and formal balance. Here are the illustration of asymmetrical and symmetrical balance.
As illustrated on the photo, it shows a skirt that features an asymmetrical hemline. Informal balance is asymmetrical. Its design details are divided unequally from the center. It can achieve a more dramatic and interesting effect through one imbalance of visual impact. Its composition is different arrangements on each side. It is often achieved with diagonal line and off-centered closings. An unusual, slender, eye-catching detail or intense impact on one side can balance a larger, less imposing area on the other side. Striking line, texture, or color can appear to balance larger masses of less significance. Informal balance is usually reserved for fashionable garment for its dramatic and technical effects. It should not look heavier on one side than the other. If done properly, the design should appear to be balanced, even though its two sides are different. On the second photo shows that the buttons are symmetrically placed. Symmetrical is also called formal balance. Its design details are divided equally to create a centered balance. A symmetrical garment design must have exactly the same details in just the same place on both sides. Formal balance is the easiest and the most logical way to achieve stability. Therefore, it is also most commonly used in fashion design. Even a design with slight deviations, for instance, when minor details are not exactly alike on both sides, it is still considered to be approximately symmetrical. A sensitive use of fabric, rhythm, and space relationships is essential to keep a symmetrical design from being any less exciting. A symmetrically balanced design usually has a more formal or tailored appearance. This kind of design is the simplest and least expensive to produce. Proportion, sometimes also referred to as scale, relates to how well the size of the parts of a garment work together. Most clothing is made to flatter someone's shape. Proportions vary for many body types, and designers need to understand how to make clothing look good for different shapes.
Proportion is the comparative relationship between distance, size, amount, digits, and parts. It can be applied to one-dimensional lines, two-dimensional shapes, or three-dimensional forms. The main idea of proportion is in relationship. Sometimes a single part of the body may seem to be well proportioned, but if its size or shape is inconsistent with the rest of the figure, the whole figure still seems to be out of proportion. Basically, proportion in fashion design is the size relationship of each of the internal spaces within a garment to one another and to the whole design. Next is the illustration that shows a garment that is out of proportion and a garment that is in proportion.
As you can see, the photo on the left is out of proportion where the sleeves are too large for the size of the skirt. And on the right side, the photo shows a in proportion where the sleeves are balanced by a longer skirt. Proportion in fashion design is very important to the eyes. If the design is properly proportioned, the design effect will appear to be harmonious and pleasing. In order to understand how to manipulate the appropriate proportion, the application of the golden mean is essential to any fashion design. Unequal proportion can be more interesting than equal proportion. Many mathematical formulas have been proposed as guidelines, known as the golden mean or golden ratio. Standards or proportion change with fashion cycles along the evolution of silhouette and line. The golden mean is the proportion rule that pleases the eyes. 5/8 and 8/13 are the standard formula. Emphasis. One of the ways to create interest in a clothing item It means to make some elements stand out more than others by adding features like a splash of color or a texture. This technique creates a focal point to catch the eye.
Emphasis is a center of interest that draws attention to the focal point of a garment. The center of interest must create more visual attraction than any other design element and should be related to the overall structure of a garment, while the remaining elements must support the center of interest by echoing its design impact. Emphasis could be accomplished by the use of lines, details, color accents, shapes, trims, or accessories. A combination of these elements gives the focal point added strength, so thus placing a decorative emphasis at the structural point. Here is the illustration of emphasis.
A well-planned emphasis could draw our eyes quickly to the center of interest in a design. Just like what is illustrated on the photo, fewer details in the design create a focal point and thereby a center of interest is emphasized. Unity is the harmony between all parts or objects of the design. The overall design creates a sense of completeness.
The use of too many motifs in one garment is distracting and discordant. When a garment has unity, separating individual parts work together to create a whole feeling of togetherness and oneness are achieved. Here is a photo shows a garment that is lack of unity and a garment with unity.
On the left side, the photo shows that the dress lacks unity. The tailored seams are incongruous with the fluffiness of the top, and the photo on the right side shows that unity is successfully in the outfit with tailored seams throughout the garment. Rhythm refers to the repeated lines, colors, trims, shapes, or details that create a pattern that the eye can follow throughout the design.
In fashion design, rhythm is the flow of lines, shapes, textures, and colors of a garment. The flow should gently carry the eyes from one area of a garment to another. When all the lines of an outfit work well together, a sense of rhythm is obvious. So here's an illustration showing rhythm.
As you can see on the photo, the rhythm effect is demonstrated with the conflicting lines and broken pattern that create a strong rhythmic impact. As long as the lines and patterns are carefully placed, a sense of rhythm will guide the eyes to move from looking at one element to the other. All in all, rhythm as a design technique can be achieved through the use of numerous different kinds of techniques. Collaborative tools. MS Teams, CorelDRAW, Microsoft Word, and YouTube are collaborative tools that will improve students' learning. It also helps to provide interactive learning experiences, motivate students to learn, and make learning more comfortable.
So that's the end. I hope you learn and understand the principles.
Thank you.